Hey folks, it's another episode of Let's Get Serious. Um, this is a series I'm trying to get off the ground. Hopefully, I keep making some more videos. I have another one that I might do after this. I might do it later. I don't know. But this episode is kind of special because it's sort of it's a reply of sorts to one person on YouTube, content creator known as Turd Flinging Monkey, or TFM as I'm going to refer to him in this video. Um, he is a MGTOW, and for those of you that don't know, that is a group known as Men Going Their Own Way. It's more of a group, more of a community, kind of like a lifestyle choice. And what it is, essentially, it is men who do not like the system in which they live because so many things in our society are opposed to men purposely, um, and up to and including, and really this is the biggest argument that they pose, which is like marriage and interactions with women on any sort of like long-term level, because the courts and society in general values women over men in these areas and will bend over backwards to make sure that women get a disproportionate amount of help, relief, or just, well, prize from nothing more than just being in a relationship and then suddenly not being in a relationship. The thing is, as an egalitarian, I agree. I agree that the system in which we live in is not patriarchal in the same sense that many mainstream and large amounts of feminist groups will have you believe. There are things that men are privileged in and that women are not, but I feel like that is steadily becoming less of a fact, whereas there being things in our society that benefit and that prioritize women over men has sort of been in the opposite direction, where it was always kind of there, but like you could still have some protections in a marriage, you could still have some protections, for certain assets and things like that. And over time, it's gotten to where, thanks in large part to like third wave regressive feminism, which I have no fucking love for whatsoever, um, they played a large part in making it so that, because women vote and women take up such a large part of the voter base, that certain things have gotten passed. And so, here's where we are now. And this is, and MGTOW are sort of a result of that change. And I understand that. And I get it. I really do. But here's my problem with MGTOW, and more so TFM. He makes a lot of really good points, but then he takes it to a place that I simply cannot go. He makes a lot of points, like I said, and like I've already pointed out, about how society prioritizes and values women over men, especially in like custody hearings and court cases and things like that. But a guy like TFM will then go on to say and try to prove with pseudoscience. He'll have some expert, some fucking expert, come on and try to, with a bunch of therefores and as this proves and this and thus and all this other bullshit, this bullshit pseudoscience, to try to prove that women are in fact inferior, but not inferior in that they don't deserve to be treated like human beings, which to me is sort of talking out of both sides of your fucking mouth, because you can't call someone inferior but then also say that they're not too inferior. That makes no fucking sense. You're either inferior or you're not. You're either superior or you're not. They're not too inferior. No, that's bullshit. But anyway, he has these people come on, and he tries to spout himself, this pseudoscience about how it can be proven that women morally, intellectually, as well as physically, don't or can't compete with men ever. And he calls a lot of this and falls back on a lot of this stuff using dimorphism, sexual dimorphism, the physiological differences between men and women, right? Here's my problem with that. Even though we both don't like traditionalists, because as we both know TFM, traditionalism and feminism are two sides of the same coin. You said it yourself in one of your videos. And you were absolutely right. Two sides of the same coin. Traditionalism doesn't help men. It still hurts us. Because if we go back to what's traditional, well, we can never really leave where we are, do we? And feminism, well, we know what that is. And then two sides of the same coin. They're telling the same fucking story from different viewpoints, but it's somehow the same goddamn story. So I get it. But at the same time, when you start spitting your pseudoscience about how women are inferior, and you fall back on dimorphism, all I see is more traditionalism. Original traditionalism. Genetic traditionalism. And I think that's bullshit too. I think that you can have certain things in aggregate, on the whole in general, for that particular gender or race or whatever, but you take it to a place, you use the facts and figures in the same way that feminists would use facts and figures. You try to justify regressive behavior and a regressive idea. In this case, TFM has often called for women to have their right to vote taken away. And I get why he says that. But we'll get to that in a second. But you sound just like the feminists. When they try to use pseudoscience or reasons to try to justify sexism against men and how it's not really sexism against men, but empowering women somehow. It's the same bullshit. So I've got MGTOW, traditionalism, and feminism. Somehow three sides of a coin? How the fuck does that work? I don't know, but that's what I think, going off of your logic. But then at the same time that you talk about, they're inferior, you also want women to be held to a certain standard, which sounds a bit egalitarian, which you have made a video trying to disprove my fucking socio-political stance of being an egalitarian. You've tried to shut me down by saying that can't exist because women are inferior to men, but then you call for women to be held to the same standard, which is exactly what the fuck egalitarian is, at least to me. I don't know if that's exactly what most people would think traditional or egalitarianism is on the whole, but to me, that is us revising laws, us revising the system, us revising society to hold. Okay, for those of you that may have missed or seen a bit of a skip, I had to take a call in the middle of my video, so this is me picking back up on where we were. TFM, backing on egalitarianism when he kind of, is saying the same thing, kind of. You can't try to bash egalitarianism and say that it doesn't work, but then also call for women to be held to the same standards as men, because that's fucking egalitarianism. So, all in all, my whole thing about UTFM is that I understand, here's the thing. Me as an egalitarian, and just any MRM or MRA person, we all see how men are getting fucked over in this country from a legal standpoint, from a socio-political standpoint. We understand that. But the problem is that you as a MGTOW, you take all of that anger and you use it in the same regressive way that feminists use it. That regressive feminists use it to attack men. You use it to spread bullshit and inaccuracy, all for the goal of setting up some sort of particular message or image about a gender. And I don't think that's productive. I don't think that's conducive to things being better in this country. I don't think it works. And again, it's frustrating because you talk about some things and a lot of things, and I agree with you. Seeking purpose for yourself outside of like just your job or just being a husband or being a dad, like find purpose for yourself too. There's enrichment there, and you're absolutely right. I just don't think that we have to chop down women. I don't think we have to go after women in order to attain this. I don't think that we have to necessarily go after every single woman or the entire gender to bring ourselves up. Because in my opinion, a lot of how things have gotten so fucked for men is in large part our fault. Or not necessarily our fault. Not you or I are at fault, but the men who have come before us. The rich assholes, the scumbag lawyers who saw this fucking like tip in the scales happen and decided that they can make more money off of these fucking court cases and gouging just the average man because there are more women voters now, and they could corner that particular voter base. And it's all centered around greed and bullshit on top of just gynocentrism. Right? So, in my opinion, TFM, how about you take that anger and let's use it for something constructive? Constructive. And by constructive, I mean, how about you use that in the whole MGTOW thing, and that's just preach personal development. Preach personal development. Preach, and here's the thing. Keep talking about how fucked up things are for men in the court systems and in child care and domestic violence disputes. Keep talking about this because that's important. That's the truth. I'll never bag on you for telling the truth because I tell it too. In the same way that I go after feminism, the same way I go after a lot of the aggressive right, the same way I go after a lot of different people. It's all about context. It's all about perception, perspective. I cannot stress that enough, not only to you, TFM, but to anyone else watching. Get fucking perspective on things. No one thing is the right way. You must look at every bit of an argument, every standpoint, and take what makes sense and drop the rest of that shit off at the door. Alright? So TFM, how about you come on over? You'll sit there, the egalitarian, that'll be me. I'll sit in my little chair, and we'll get some MRA or MRM person, maybe. Hopefully, maybe. Karen Strong. I don't know. And we could all, sit back, fireside chat with, mug of cocoa or whatever the fuck, and talk about this shit peaceful like. Alright? So, this has been your boy, Mr. Serious. Episode 2 is done, and I'm out.